What? It's cold. It's really, really cold. That's the problem that I've been having. I don't know if it was the battery, if it was the fridge, or if it was a combination of both, but something was going wrong. Two different occasions. One, I was completely by myself. Not by myself, I mean I had the kids, but the battery died, and it died after only a few minutes. Another time I was on that trip in Death Valley with AJ, and he was able to jump me off, and I had he had a little jump thing, which I actually bought one of those to put in the back for a little bit of added redundancy. The point is this: for years I was running this fridge almost all the time on this battery right here, exclusively. I mean, it was backed up by the solar. This battery was dead. Something was going on with the system. The fridge is supposed to shut off if it dips down below, I think 12 or 12.1, so it doesn't kill your startup battery. But that wasn't working. It was killing. The bottom line is this: people would ask me, hey, why aren't you running a dual battery setup? And my comment was, the fridge has got an automatic shut off, doesn't use a whole lot of power. Most of the time I'm running the vehicle anyway when the fridge is on, etc., etc., etc. Well, that's all fine and good until you end up in the middle of nowhere, stranded. And so today, we're going to install a dual battery setup to make sure that I've got that added redundancy. Let me tell you why a dual battery setup is important. So I don't want to discourage people that are trying to get into this. It's not like an essential need for being able to go out and do these things. You can be smart about how you do these things. But for me, I'm at this point, this is like, I'm 3 years into this. I'm redoing a whole bunch of stuff. And this next iteration, I wanted to have a dual battery setup. I wanted to set this up in a manner so that I didn't have to worry about my startup battery. So currently, I've got a Group 31, brand new Odyssey Group 31 battery in my startup. You know this, we've been there. I've got a second, I think it's Group 34, don't quote me on that, we'll open it up in a second, but it's a smaller battery, and it's gonna go in this secondary location, not up here in the front, but we'll show you in a minute. And the idea behind it is that I'm gonna run the fridge, actually all the power in the back, and what happens is when that battery, the whole system is connected, right? But what happens is when that second battery gets down below a certain threshold, it's got a regulator thing, automatic charge relay, ICR, I think is what it's called. Anyway, basically isolates the batteries so that if the secondary battery accessories are plugged directly into, if it dips down below a certain threshold, it flips a switch basically that isolates the two so that the secondary, so the primary battery actually, but the second battery in this particular setup, the primary battery doesn't dip down below, doesn't actually. Okay, so this is the SDHQ Off-Road Racing 2010 Plus 4Runner dual battery kit. I was looking around for somebody that actually had a full-on kit. In full disclosure, they did send me this kit, and also secondary, full disclosure, you can build something like this for a lot less, maybe not a lot less, but for less than what you would buy a kit for, whether it's from these guys or anybody else. What you're paying for is you're paying for the fact that these guys not only have all the parts and pieces figured out, but they've got a kit, instructions, and everything is laid out for you. Wiring is cut exactly the length that you need. Wiring is put together to spec. The best part for me though is the fact that they've got it all figured out. All I gotta do is go through here. Ooh, look at this. They've got, oh, and there's one more major component. It's the bracket. This is what the battery is going to be connected to. You can't just toss the battery in. It's got to have a mounting bracket. Get all these wires that are perfectly, look at how clean these are. And their terminal ends are perfect. They're exactly what you want them to be. And the other thing that's kind of cool is it tells you exactly where they go. Will it focus on? Hello. What does that say? ACR stud A, right here. Yeah, main battery positive, right here. And so that's the thing that makes a kit like this. That's the thing that makes a kit like this valuable. Hello, Focus. You know, for all the complaining that people did on the GH5 Focus, this new Canon has a hard time focusing on me. shoot, I meant to buy more zip ties. So, well, here's the ACR, the automatic charge relay, right here. All right, so the Blue C ML ACR 500 amp magnetic latching bistable relay automatically combines batteries during charging and isolates batteries when discharging and when starting the engine. You have to have it. You need something like this for a setup like this so you can isolate the batteries. This is where the secondary battery is going to go, and this bracket, I believe it goes in just like this. You see that? There's a little thing. The thing I liked about this particular setup is there's another great location really to mount the second battery. This location over here, a lot of people will tell you, I mean, it's got the same reinforcement over here that the primary battery location has. But the problem that I have is I gotta move this stuff back, I guess, and I just didn't want to tackle that. I've already got a lot of complexities happening right now. A lot of people worry about the integrity. I don't jump my vehicle. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not bouncing around a whole lot. Step one. All right, remove, slide the vertical support in between the loosened brake clamp and align the rear. Loosely tighten M6 lock nut, washer under the stud. All right, so the trick with getting that brake line, get the bracket in between the brake line, I went ahead and threaded that nut, bolt, whatever it is. I put it back in there with the brake line, but kept it pretty loose. I was able to slide the bracket in between. Step 4, align the rear upright support over the rear. My wife just brought me a cookie. I love cookies. Oh, so good. It's crispy and it's delicious. Step 5, align the main battery mount in the engine bay of your truck. The bottom two holes will fit over the studs protruding from the top of the wheel well. There we go. Actually, pretty good. Okay, so step number 6 is align the hole in the rear upright support to the hole in the main battery mount as pictured below. I got the feeling it's going to be a little bit of doing and redoing. Because getting that thing down there to stay where I need it to stay, while I'm removing the other thing that's touching it and rubbing it, I'm just going to position it the way I think it needs to be positioned. I'm going to tighten it down. I'm going to hope for the best. That's not good. Yes, that could have been way more difficult. Pro tip, get one of those magnetic loopy things before you even start the project because it will save you a lot if you drop a screw in a nut, which I've done multiple times already, and it's a pain in the butt. I want to introduce you to the most amazing and incredible wife
my hair, make myself look.
anybody has ever known in the entire existence of humankind. While I'm removing the other thing that's touching it and rubbing it, boop, She sighs at me all the time. This is normal.
It's because I brought you a cookie. It's okay.
Thank you for lunch.
You're welcome. Hey, I brought you salsa. I don't know if you really want it, but...
I love salsa.
Do you need me
Especially this salsa, by the way.
Do you need me to open the jar for you?
Yes, actually.
Since your gimpy arm, really?
Yeah. The hand doesn't like to open jars right now.
Yeah, jar tool. It's too tough. Sadie gets it. Wait, let me see how you like your quesadilla first.
All right, let's have a bite of the quesadilla.
Dang quesadilla.
Oh man, oh, it's so good. Not sponsored, but if you want the best salsa, I love this stuff. I've never had salsa that I loved as much as this salsa. That was a fantastic lunch. Thanks again, wife. All right, step 6, align the hole in the rear upright support to the hole in the main battery mount as pictured below. Once those are aligned, carefully remove the main battery mount and finish tightening the M8 lock nut and the rear upright support. I already did that. Try not to drop the camera. That's usually not a good idea. synced up. All right, this was first. These are pretty tight. These right here, they're pretty tight. This guy back there, pretty tight. The one down below on the bracket, pretty tight. These are the last ones that need to be tightened. Need to bring this up and make sure this is pretty snug. I think we're ready to do a test fitting on the battery. The heavy son of a gun. All right. Step 14, with the batteries in place, the install of the SDHQ dual battery kit is now complete. Now the battery will need to be wired. The SDHQ dual battery wiring kit was included. Begin those installation instructions. Don't mind if I do. Let's see what we got here. Okay. You want to interview me? He's going to interview me for Scouts. Be right back. Alrighty. This wiring kit's for the SDHQ. I already read this. Disconnect stock battery. Okay, get it. So my stock battery terminals are not stock anymore. But I've got, so they sent me, part of this kit are new thingies that go on here. But I talked to Sleeve because they've got some that they sent me actually before I was even, before I knew I was even going to do the dual battery setup. So I'm going to use the SLE ones. I just really appreciate SLE and their willingness to work with me on just about everything I'm trying to do. They've always been great. So I got to undo all this stuff. So these guys aren't going to live here. I don't even think that. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to run power directly from the battery to one of the breakers to the back. So the back is with the breaker, so I can hit this button right there and just disengage the power, just shut it off real easy. The reason why I wanted to have a switch for the winch is because I didn't want any phantom draw coming from it. But I don't know that that's really going to be that big of an issue because I don't think it's doing that anyway. I don't think it's doing that right now. That was kind of the idea behind this. I just don't think I'm going to do anything with that right now because I don't have anywhere to put this. I'm not going to do anything fancy to get this on to the power tray. In a perfect world, if I was doing a really, really good, high quality, custom paid professional job, I'd use bolts, but I'm not actually. And I'm going to put this over to the side. I'm going to use, what I was going to say is I'm just going to use self-tapping screws and just, because it just needs to be held in place. It's not load bearing. All right, so step 3 says there are 2 wiring configurations from the Tacoma. Follow steps below. 4Runner owners can proceed to step 6. So the first step, the first thing we're going to do after we've disconnected everything is we're going to install the Blue Sea ACR. So this is going to go right here, just like this, and there's conveniently placed holes. I mean, not conveniently, I mean, I'm sure these are just done on purpose. You've got this whole setup on them. All right, so dark, put the ACR on before you even put all this other stuff on because the access is easier. At least wait until you put the battery, or put it on before you put the battery in. But you could put the ACR on the mount before you even install it in the vehicle, and it'd be just fine. All right, step number 6 for the 4Runner install. Running the wires for the auxiliary battery connections. The 82-inch positive main battery to the isolator, 84-inch negative. That's one of my favorite things about a setup like this. All of the cables are here, and actually, these guys, they labeled everything, and the fittings, the connections, they're so solid. I mean, look at this. Can I even show you with all this stuff around me? Look at this. See, look at that. I don't even know what that one is. I can't see it. This is the aux battery positive post. Perfect. and this is going to be ACR stud B. So this is coming from the, so this is going to go ACR stud A. Okay, so this is going to be ACR N. This is going to go from the positive of the main battery positive post. So this is going to go all the way around the engine bay. And then this right here is our negative. So this is going to be our aux negative post and aux battery frame ground. So there's a ground place. Running the wires, the aux array, straight to the fender, guide labeled main battery, blah blah blah. That's what we're doing. So the wires, this is what they're going to do. They're going to go all along here. So you know, your wires are going to go here, and they're going to go along this, well, I'm going to feed them under there, but you see the wires back there? See, up here? That's where they're going to go. They're going to run all along the factory wiring right there, all the way over to this side. So. Get tons of like unsolicited calls like I do, like probably 5 to 10 a day. People call me, or robots call me, and they're like, do not hang up, this is an important message, you have to hear this because we're trying to sell you something or scam you out of your personal private financial information. It's pretty annoying. Hey, what's it? Did you feed him a bottle?
Yeah.
Hey, what's wrong? Do you not want her to go outside? All right, so the way they have this is they actually have this coming around here like this, and it's going to hook up. So we got plenty of cable to make it like nice and neat. So it'll come around here like that. Where'd my wrench go? So I kind of checked out there for just a little bit. I don't know if you can relate, but trying to film, come up with fun camera angles, make this semi-entertaining so it's not just totally boring, and figure out how to do all the stuff that I am not a pro at, I had to shut the camera down for a little bit and just kind of really focus on this to make sure I was doing it correctly. Let me show you where I'm at. I have the positive wired up to this terminal right here, and that terminal is going to go on top of the battery, so it'll go right there. The negative has got all kinds of weird stuff, and this is something that I don't understand, but apparently I needed to run a ground from the negative terminal to 2 different places. One of them on the frame way down there, kind of a pain in the butt to get to, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and then another one back here on the firewall. So I've got 2 grounds coming from this battery. I don't really understand why. That's what the instructions are. I mean, it makes sense, you know, because anytime you hook anything up, it's got to come back to the negative terminal somehow. So I guess, you know, you've got a ground going to the firewall, a ground going down to the frame. But anyway, so let me show you. There's the ground right there. So that's right there. That's where the ground goes from the firewall, or from the battery to the firewall, and then also for this Blue Sea ARC thing, ACR thing, it's got a ground that goes from that. And then I've got another ground that goes down here, back behind there. So can you see it now? I need to secure the wires going along the back there, and I'm gonna do that right now. I gotta run the ACR. Hey, what are you doing? Did you get your shoes? I swear, if he could be up here turning a wrench with me, he would. He wants to get up here so bad. Okay, so I got my SLE battery connectors here, got everything ran here, positive and negative. Need to tighten everything up, obviously. Then I need to run my power for the back to the aux battery, which isn't super complicated, and then I'll be ready to be done pretty soon. I think I'm gonna have to table the rest of this project for the rest of the evening and pick it up tomorrow. So, hey, that's my screwdriver. Ooh, you're gonna screw into the, I wouldn't do that. In case you were wondering, my wife makes the best grilled cheese sandwiches in the world. So, pretty much everything's done. I still need to trim the negative cable for the aux that goes into the back. Positive's already done, it's hooked up to the switch breaker thing. I think I want to go ahead and get the wires assembled, put along the back like whatever, grouped together, all that, and you just start kind of buttoning things up. Okay, so I think I'm just about done. So I ran the wiring across, I've zip tied it, it was a pain in the butt to do, got that all snipped. The only thing left that I have to do is I need to run the negative, it's already ran, but I need to trim it, put a connector in thingamajigger on there, and get it connected to the negative here on the auxiliary battery. All right, I think I've got everything wired up. I think everything's good. I think everything's solid. Well, the connections are tight. In theory, things should come on. It's the moment of truth. Where are you going?
To play group.
Play group?
Oh yeah, it's fun times.
I love you. Thank you for being amazing.
My pleasure.
All right, I'm almost done. We're gonna go see if it works.
Yay,
Are you guys ready to see if it works? Hopefully everything works. Okay. The first thing that I wanted to check is I just wanted to see if I've got power in the back. If I have power in the back, that means that, well, it means that I've plugged it into the battery. I guess that doesn't mean anything. The big thing is going to be when I start it up, if I can sense power going over to the other side. I'm a little nervous. I wonder if I've got everything set up. I'm going to go through and check everything one more time. Just for personal reference, this is at ISO 4000. Yes. Yes! It works. 1283. Right there. And this says 1276, 1273. I forgot that the back voltmeter, the Blue Sea thing, it always reads slightly different. I don't know if something's off with this, something's off with that. All right, here we go. If you ever disconnect your battery, however many batteries you have, and then it's like disconnected for a while, and then you start it up and it does that, totally normal. I don't have the exact explanation, something with the computer resetting, air-fuel ratio, I don't know, but that's normal. This has been an incredible project. I've I've learned so much. I just wanted to take a minute and thank all of the people, all the sponsors, all the groups, all the companies, everybody that supported me in figuring out how to make all of this happen. This mission of redundancy, this mission of redoing so many things that I'd already done before, but hadn't done very well and frankly didn't do with very much high quality or whatever. In the very beginning of this vlog series, one of the things I talked about a lot was experience. And it was the fact that you can't gain experience without doing things. And if you don't do things, you don't really grow. You don't become more intelligent, more wise, better, stronger, whatever. Like, you have to do. If you're just sitting around doing nothing, you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're not obtaining any more knowledge. You have to try, you have to do, you have to fail in order to, ultimately in order to succeed. Definitely in order to learn. And one of the cool things about this whole experience is that I had done a lot of this electrical stuff before and had ran it for a couple of years and had experience, actual experience on what works and what doesn't work, what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and came out of that having a really good understanding of what I wanted and what I needed in order to do the things that I wanted to do. And like ultimately it was the dual battery setup. I've got a whole nother project coming and that's lighting. I got to redo all of the lighting, but I had to do this first in order to be ready for the lighting. By the way, I'm going to need to find some help to remove this big old 150 pound, 200 pound bumper. That's another story. But the lighting I don't think will be as involved because, you know, when you have an S-Pod, all you got to do is run the wiring. I've got a really good idea, framework in my mind on how to handle all of the wiring. And I'm actually really, really excited about it because, like I said a minute ago, a couple of years ago, no clue. Didn't even know what heat shrink was, didn't even know what loom was, had no clue. Now I have a really good grasp and a really good idea on how to not only do it, but how to do it cleanly and how to do it well so that it will be, so that, you know, and like all the wiring that I've done now, it's quality to the point where it'll last me a while. You know what I mean? Years, maybe forever. I don't really know. It's all done very, very well because I had guidance and support from people like yourself that were just super, super helpful. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't mean to say thank you like 10 times, but thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, please support us by subscribing. My goal and my hope is always so that these videos are helpful for you because they're super helpful for me. Yeah, if you liked it, like it. Make sure you share it with your friends, and we'll see you on the next video. Did you hear that? It's clicking back and forth. What's it at? Yeah, sucked it in, so the power is like whatever.